For many years now, there have been calls to establish a secondary rail link to Plymouth and Cornwall, and those calls only grew louder in 2021 with the partial reopening of the Dartmoor line here as far as Oakhampton.
This new link is seen as essential by many, particularly in the light of the 2014 collapse of the Dawlish seawall, leaving Plymouth and Cornwall cut off from the rest of the country's rail network for a period of 8 weeks. The obvious route is to continue extending the Dartmoor line along its original path to Plymouth via Tavistock and Bere Alston. However, in recent weeks, attention has turned to an alternative proposal which would see a new express mainline built paralleling the A30. In this video, we'll take a look at the details of the proposal before discussing its viability and whether it really has any chance of moving forwards. Welcome to Network News. The plan in question is known as Kernow Connect and has been put forward by multiple local campaign groups, including Connect Bude alongside Connect Launceston. Originally, the vision was to find a way of adding Launceston to the national rail network and in turn providing connectivity benefits for the wider North Cornwall area, which is currently a bit of a transport desert when it comes to rail connections. However, further assessment found that the case for a new line could be significantly boosted if it were extended beyond Launceston to form a new rail link between Devon and Cornwall, and the idea grew from there. The proposal is still at a very early stage, but it has been gaining political momentum as of late, so with that in mind, let's discuss the details of this admittedly still very speculative plan. To start off with, there would need to be a major upgrade of the existing route between Exeter and Oakhampton to bring it up to mainline standards. The current single-track line would need to be double-tracked and electrified to support the proposed service levels, with line speed improvements and gauge clearance works also likely to be a priority.
But the line doesn't actually end at Oakhampton. It ends here at the Meldon Viaduct, the historic Meldon Viaduct, part of the original railway that led all the way through to Plymouth. However, these proposals aren't planning to repurpose these tracks or that viaduct and would instead run a new route parallel to the A30.
Instead of following this former alignment across the viaduct, they then envision a new line diverging just after Oakhampton station before running parallel to the A30 on its northern side, passing through a tunnel under Sowerton Down before crossing the Tamar on a viaduct and arriving at the first station of Launceston.
Launceston did have a railway historically, which today has been repurposed as part of this lovely narrow gauge railway, which still runs on the original alignment to the west of the town. However, to the east, the route has largely been built on, which means it's not appropriate for our 21st century line.
Instead, the plan is for the line to continue following the main road, this time on the south side, with Launceston's new station being located somewhere around the Pennygillam Industrial Estate, where there is also potential for a major new freight intermodal hub owing to its connections directly onto the A30. After this, it would continue following the A30 across Bodmin Moor, utilising tunnels where needed, before arriving at the next new station in Bodmin.
The exact location of the new station is unknown, but similarly to Launceston, it's unlikely to be the same site as the original station, and will instead be located somewhere on the east of the town, closer than the current Bodmin Parkway station, but sadly not as close as this original Bodmin General, which has been preserved and is all very nice, but it is a turnback station, which means it's not really appropriate for a modern intercity line.
After this, it would merge back into the Cornish Main Line, somewhere between Bodmin Parkway and Lostwithiel, allowing trains to continue on the existing network to serve the various towns and industries scattered throughout Cornwall. The new line would be double-tracked and electrified throughout its length, with a design speed of 200 km an hour or 125 miles an hour. It would also be built to W12 loading gauge to ensure use by freight trains, which is seen as one of the line's key benefits. Its construction would be no small task, likely requiring billions of pounds worth of investment and years of effort to design and build the railway, with an opening not expected until the 2040s or even the 2050s under the most optimistic scenario. So with that in mind, let's go over some of the benefits of the scheme and why its supporters say it's so badly needed. One of the main benefits stated for the new line is its ability to boost freight links. Whilst the current main line into Cornwall can carry freight trains, they say it isn't suitable in the long term owing to capacity and resilience issues, particularly at Dawlish. This new line would be capable of taking trains with a W12 loading gauge, meaning it could handle container freight, as well as facilitating strategic developments such as mining for tin or lithium and enabling better utilisation of the deepwater port at Falmouth. When it comes to passengers, the 200 km an hour top speed of the new line means that the journey time between Exeter and Bodmin would be more than an hour faster than it is today, with them going on to say that, if combined with upgrades and electrification of the existing route between Exeter and Newbury, this could enable a journey time between London and Truro of just 2.5 hours. Alongside this, it would free up capacity in Plymouth to enable a metro-style service to run along the existing network, particularly on the line through Devonport, which currently sees a very limited service at certain stations. And then there is, of course, the obvious benefit of providing a secondary rail route into Cornwall, meaning that if Dawlish is washed into the sea again, they won't be completely cut off from the rest of the country, as well as the obvious benefits of increasing rail's modal share when compared to roads and airlines, bringing social, economic and environmental benefits as a result. With all these things taken into account, they say that they expect the line could have a cost-benefit ratio of greater than 2.0, meaning that for every £1 spent, the line would generate £2 worth of economic return, though this estimate has certainly raised a few eyebrows, given the project's high cost, which is likely to run into the billions or maybe even tens of billions. This proposal might all sound a bit fanciful, but it has been gaining real momentum as of late, with Cornwall Council confirming that they intend to fund a feasibility study for the line, and the MP for North Cornwall, Ben Maguire, confirming that he has secured a meeting with the Rail Minister, Peter Hendy, to discuss the possibility of this link being built. So, with all that in mind, how likely is it to actually happen? Well, not that likely. Given that we can't even seem to commit to a desperately needed link between the UK's second and third largest cities to relieve pressure on the busiest mixed traffic railway in Europe, the chances of this line being built, with a similar length and complexity, to serve a population of a few 100,000 people at best, really doesn't look likely. There's also operational concerns. Currently all the London to Cornwall expresses pass through Plymouth on the way, but if they are instead diverted down this new line, there may be a danger that Plymouth actually sees a reduction in trains running through to London unless they're able to find a way to boost capacity on the busy approaches into Paddington, or introduce some complex operational pattern involving trains splitting and joining at Exeter or something like that. I don't necessarily think this proposal is a bad idea, as it definitely does have some merits, but for the level of engineering complexity required for it, a better solution may be available, such as a high-speed line between Exeter and Plymouth. Even if this line never ends up happening though, it may still serve a function by making other interventions look more achievable in comparison, such as the full reopening of the Dartmoor line by extending through Tavistock to Bere Alston and Plymouth, or even simply electrifying the existing main line in full between London and Penzance. Bold ideas ultimately push us forwards, even if their original vision is never fully realised. With that said, I do think there's a not unreasonable debate to be had over whether or not it's a good use of public money to fund a feasibility study for a line which is unlikely to ever happen. I have to give a massive thank you to everyone I spoke to whilst researching and filming this video, including people from the Connect Launceston campaign and the Launceston Steam Railway, who were kind enough to let me do some filming at their station and even take me out for a quick ride when the line was actually supposed to be closed to the public. For their sake, I really do hope that something ends up happening, as there's clearly a strong local desire for better rail connections. I only fear that this specific proposal may be too ambitious to actually get delivered.
But what are your thoughts on this proposed line? Is it a pipe dream that will never happen, or might it genuinely have some merit? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to Network News for more updates like this, and until next time, thanks for watching.